Hello and welcome to Dave's Delightful Dishes. And as always, I'm Dave, and it is such a delight to have you here visiting me today in my kitchen. And today I've got a recipe request from somebody special to me, my wife. She gave me a specific request for today's episode, and let's go check it out. So the recipe that my wife would like me to make is something that's called Bavarian chicken. It happens to be a keto-friendly recipe that we discovered a year ago when we were doing a keto diet for a couple of months. And even though it's keto, it's perfectly good for anybody. And if you want to have some potatoes on the side, then it's not keto anymore. But it's really delicious. It uses a lot of good ingredients, which you're going to see right here. And it is also a one-pot meal. And it doesn't take very long to cook. So it's kind of a win in a lot of ways. It's good for you, it's easy to make, it uses very few ingredients, and it doesn't take a lot of time, and you don't make a lot of mess. Unless you're putting everything in a little dish to show off like I am. But I'm assuming you guys don't all put your things in ramekins at home. Anyhow, let's get going. The first thing we got to do is we've got to cut up some Brussels sprouts. So, I'm not going to cut all these in front of you, but you get these Brussels sprouts, and these ones happen to be pretty big today. You see what you get in the market. Sometimes they're about half that size, but with ones like this, I still want to get that tough stem off. So you take your knife, and if you notice I'm left-handed, and I get that stem off. And those outer leaves that come away, that's fine. Pull them away. And then I'm going to cut it in the half long ways. And since this one's this big, I'm going to then cut it again into quarters. And that gives me Brussels sprout chunks. So let me knock a couple of these out, and then we'll get on to the next thing. I'm going to go ahead and finish the rest of these up, and then we're going to head over to the cooktop. All right, so I've got one of my enameled Dutch ovens. This is a 6-quarter up on the stove, heating up. And what I need to put in here is I need to put in that pound of sauerkraut, which has been drained and rinsed. My Brussels sprouts. A teaspoon of caraway seeds. Two teaspoons of Dijon mustard. I chose a country grind kind, a little bit more of a whole grain versus the real smooth type. This gives a little bit better flavor in my mind. And 3/4 of a cup of chicken broth. And we have to stir this all together. And we're going to put a lid on it, or let it bring up to a boil. Then we're going to put a lid on it and let it simmer. And I got one more ingredient's got to go in here. It's an apple, a tart apple. In this case, I'm using a Granny Smith that I have cored and peeled. And in a coarse grind, I'm going to shred this in as well. Get all this stirred together, and you can see it's coming up to temperature. And obviously the vegetables and the apple are going to give off juice. We can add more liquid if we need to. But for the meantime, lid's on. It's going to go on medium-low, and we're going to let it simmer for 10 minutes. So while that's simmering, let's get the chicken ready. Now I'm using boneless, skinless breasts. And these ones were huge, so I cut them in half. You're going to look for between 1 pound to 2 pounds, depending on how many people you're feeding. And, this recipe is very much scalable, depending on how big a force you're feeding for the day. But you've got a pretty good sized breast here. And we can put these right in just like this. But what I like to do is, I'm not going to try to make them like paper thin, but I am going to try to flatten them up a little bit. So you take one of your pieces of breast, put it inside a plastic bag. And if only I had a napkin. Hold on one second. Because remember, this is raw chicken, and I'm going to wash my hands afterwards, and I washed it before as well. And all I'm doing is just flatten it down a little bit. It doesn't have to be done like a 1/4 inch thick or anything like if you're going to make a cutlet. But that flattens it out. It'll make it cook a little bit more evenly, and it won't take as long to cook because there's more surface area. Ten minutes has elapsed. I just took the lid off once or twice and gave it a stir during this process. And you can see it's on, stuff is softening up pretty nicely. So now what I got to do is take my chicken, and I've kept it still on low, and we're going to nestle this chicken in around that's nestling in on top. And then I have a 1.5 teaspoons of paprika. If you want to do more, you can. I actually might just do the full 2 teaspoons. I always keep a little extra just in case, because I love it. There we go. I'll save that last little 1/2 teaspoon in reserve. And then I have a tablespoon, well, just about a scant tablespoon of fresh chopped dill. That all goes on top. This lid goes back on. And we're going to cook that or simmer that for 20 minutes until the chicken is all the way cooked and the Brussels sprouts are all the way softened. All right, the cooking time is done, but this thing is hot. So I got to do this barehanded. Yeah. So that's what we're looking for. The chicken is completely done. You can see how much liquid has come in from the vegetables softening up and giving up their juice, plus the chicken itself. So this is now ready to plate. And you can do this directly from the pot, putting a trivet on your table and have everybody pick their own portion. But of course, I'm going to do a little plating for you. So let's head on over to the workstation. Oh, it smells great. I do quite enjoy this meal, and I'm glad that my wife asked me to make it. So what I got to do is I'm going to move some of this chicken out of the way so I can get to the kraut and vegetables underneath. I'm keeping, because this is very hot, keeping my bare hand on the pot. Getting out a portion of the sauerkraut and Brussels sprouts. And then I take a piece of the chicken. And that is now ready to go. Let me get this out of the way. I'm just going to give it a little bit more paprika there on the top, but it's pretty well good by itself here now. And we have a plate. And oh my goodness, is it delightful. So this is a meal that's ready in between 30 and 40 minutes. There's 30 minutes of cook time and probably about 5 to 10 minutes of prep time. You can make this any night you like. It's one pot. You set it and forget it on the stove. So it's something you guys should try. And if you're looking at it towards a keto-friendly diet, let me know in the comments, and I can put more recipes out. I've got a whole book full of them because I did this for about 6 months. But hopefully you guys try it, and hopefully you enjoy it. And if you haven't yet, hit like and subscribe, and maybe ring that bell so you get alerts whenever I'm putting out new content, which is every week. Keep on letting me know in the comments what you like, what you don't like, and what you want me to try in the future. You can also check out my Facebook page for Dave's Delightful Dishes, which will be linked in the description, as well as my Instagram. These are great places to see kind of behind the scenes stuff and other pictures that I'll post about my food and my channel. And it's also an excellent place to have commentary with me. Give them a look. And I want you guys to enjoy these recipes and just keep those challenges coming in because they're what's keeping me going. I'll see you on the next recipe.